there's an emerging school of thought that the recent surge in violent crimes in parts of the country could be attributed to the many unemployed youth who were rendered jobless in the crackdown on illegal mining. Analysts believe such galamseyers who have been exposed to the use of weapons are engaging in the crimes that we're seeing. And they've been exposed to weapons. Tonight on Joy News Prime, we assess the credibility of the theory and the plans government have for the hundreds or thousands of youth who have been put out of work since government's fight against galamsey without adequate measures to get them into meaningful employment. To help us with this conversation, we've been joined by security analyst Dr. Ishmael Norman. I'm grateful for your time, sir. We're scheduled to be joined by the Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister, George Miracle Duka, but unfortunately he's unable to join right now. We'll try and get him to join this conversation and tell us what government is doing about this phenomenon. So let's speak with Dr. Ishmael Norman. First of all, Doc, do you agree there's been a surge in violent crimes?
No.
Hello? Do we have Dr. Ishmael Norman? Doc, I'm asking if you first of all agree there's been a surge in violent crimes.
Aisha.
Yes, Dr. Norman.
Part of the reasons why violent crime is on the rise is because we have a lot of young adults who have absolutely nothing to do, and they need to make a living. They don't have jobs. Some of these people have finished senior secondary school education. Some of them have finished university. So this is part of the unintended consequences. They themselves may not be the perpetrators or the actors in the field committing the crimes, but they can build a posse or a gang that they can direct, go out there, buy them guns because they look respectable, and then get their posse to go out there and target specific institutions and rob them. Now that they are doing bullion ban, we should actually be a little bit grateful because they are targeting institutions, places where they can get bulk sums of money. When they stop targeting bullion vans, they will move into banks, actual physical banks. We have noticed that they are not afraid of going without face mask, without any disguise, and committing the act. Because when people are traumatized, they don't remember the faces of the perpetrators. So the shock of being traumatized, killing people in front of other people, traumatizes all the eyewitnesses around, and they can't even identify the person who just killed someone. So we have to be very, very careful. Government has a big role to play, providing opportunities and jobs. And banks have big role to play. If Google inventors were Ghanaians, they would never have seen the light of day. And Facebook and YouTube, never, because the banks will not finance them. And these people started with absolutely nothing, but people with money, venture capitalists, private investors, banks supported them. That is why they have become world-class institutions. And we don't have that spirit of entrepreneurism in Ghana. Even though we talk the talk, we don't do the walk. And so I think it's not only the responsibility of government, but also the banks, the universities, and the schools. They have to also train the students to do jobs that they can really do, give them skills, not just theory, and they finish and they cannot apply any of the theories because it's too poor and bad. So the population, the people in the community, our mothers and fathers, it's okay to have children to glorify God, to make yourself, to replicate yourself. But why do you have to have so many children? What are you trying to prove? We have to have the children that we can really fully cater for. I think we have to tackle the issue of childbirth, not multiple children, multiple wives, multiple children in many homes. We have to tackle the issue of birth control, population control very, very seriously. So there are a lot of issues that are involved in why they are committing crimes. But the most important issue is that they want money in their pocket.
But how plausible, Doc, how plausible is this link between the link being drawn between the recent crime wave and the Galamsey crackdown?
Well, we are putting a lot of pressure to stop the Galamsey. These are people, some of them are already exposed to lead poisoning, mercury poisoning, cyanide. These are people who are not afraid to die. You have to remember that there are a lot of young people in this country, sometimes as old as 8 years old, who know how to prime explosives, cyanide, and blow things up, TNT. So these are people who go underground, deep into the earth to burrow for gold. They are not afraid to die. That is why we've seen the uptick of crime, because we are pushing them away from that which sustained them. Now they have nothing. And what they fall on is their bold, ghastly behavior and conduct, and propelled by tramadol and other kinds of drugs, as Professor Amin of Kofi Annan Center said a few days ago in another interview. So there is a direct connection to everything, the unintended consequences of government policy. And so I have suggested that it will be a good idea for government to also do the analysis. If we stop this, what will happen? And if you know what will happen, then you can plan, this is what we're going to offer as an alternative, so as to not to get to the unthinkable. And we are in a space of unthinkable events happening. We never thought that bullion vans would be attacked in broad daylight, and they are happening. We never thought people would be attacked in broad daylight, and they are happening. So we are not thinking seriously about the unthinkable. If we stop this activity, what will happen? If you educate so many people, what will happen? These are all important variables for us to consider with respect to 45% of the population that are the youth.
In the interim, though, Doc, what can be done to reintegrate these people back into society in terms of job creation and sustainability?
It will start from the community. Every community, we at least by the makeup of our government, every community has DC, MCA. There should be serious mapping of the unemployed in that community, and there should be job matching and placement, apprenticeship, and all of that. The DC should become more scientific, not there to collect their salaries and drive in big government issue vehicles, but they should work, and the MCE should work. I'm not asking central government to do this job. It can be done in a community level. And as we are collecting data on census, we can also do the same thing. Collect the number of people who are unemployed in every community, collect the number of people who have jobs availability, and match them accordingly. And those who have no skills, how we can train them. This is all doable, but it takes political will, not at the national level, but at the community level, at the municipal level. It can be done. We can break the cycle of violence and also give meaning and substance to the young people within these respective districts.
I'm grateful for your time, Dr. Ishmael Norman. He's the president of the Institute for Security, Disaster and Emergency Studies. And as I indicated earlier, George Merikuduka was supposed to join this conversation, but he's unable to join now. But hopefully government will do something about the surge in crimes, which has been linked to the youth not having enough job to do.